Washington and Spokane voters are famously independent, voting for the person and not the party. Voters want to know the person behind the policy. Join host Sulani Madsen as she interviews 2016 general election candidates for local, state, and federal office on the experiences that have shaped their lives. The Meet the Candidate series is sponsored as a community service by the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, the Law Office of D.C. Cronin, and We Believe, We Vote. Now, here's your host, Sulani.
Okay, well, welcome to Meet the Candidate, and my guest for this session is Shelley O'Quinn, who is running for Spokane County Commissioner.
Thank you. It's
Welcome.
great to be here.
Glad you could be here. First question to all candidates is to please describe the responsibilities and duties of the office that you're running for.
Great. Commissioners, so many people have no idea what a county commissioner does. So the simplified version of what a commissioner is that we are the mayor and the city council combined. So we have legislative policy authority, making authority, and then we also run the day-to-day operations of the county. And so there are 2,000 county employees and about a $500 million budget. There are 28 elected officials in county government. So the three commissioners can't tell any of the other elected officials what to do. They are elected to do their job, but we do set the budget for the entire county. So that is the influence that we can have. There are 30 departments in particular that fall under the commissioners, and that can range from everything from 911 to the jail to the fairgrounds, planning and development, scraps. Those all fall under the commissioners.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. And I want to start a little bit with informal education. Where did you grow up and go to school?
I was born and raised in Spokane Valley, CV grad, and then I went to Whitworth University for my undergraduate education. So I have a degree in accounting and business administration, and then I did my master's degree down in California at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies at Monterey. So I have an MBA.
Okay. What was the most interesting course that you studied in your MBA course of study? What was an interesting
In my MBA course, my favorite course was actually Futures and Options. I know that sounds crazy, but I had the best professor, and it's such a challenging and intriguing course that I loved it. It was just interesting.
Yeah, it always helps when you have a good professor, but that does sound like an interesting course.
It does. I mean, I think great professors are what often direct students in their lives and where they decide to go. And yeah, I never did go into Futures and Options, but I absolutely loved the course.
Okay. Well, growing up in Spokane Valley, what kind of first job experiences did you get to have?
So my very first job was actually when I was 14, and that was in Montana because my aunt and uncle owned Fry's Cafe and Motel in Big Timber, Montana. And so they told every summer, starting when I was 2, I would go to Montana with my twin sister. I'm a twin. We'd go to Montana to visit our great-grandmother. And she lived until she was 93 years old, and we were freshmen in college at the time. So most people don't have the opportunity to know their great-grandmothers that long. So we would go over every summer to visit her in Montana. Mm-hmm. And so my great-uncle told my dad, you need to send those girls over so they can get some good work experience. And so we worked in a hotel and cleaned hotel rooms. I can make the perfect bed and fold towels perfectly. So that was my first job. Then I worked for University Appliance. My mom was the accountant there, and so my sister and I, when we were in high school, we swapped weekends, again being a twin. We swapped weekends and got experience doing back office work, and then eventually moved on to the sales floor. And I worked for them part of the way through college doing sales. So those were my first job experiences. Lots more after that, but those are my first two.
So what did you learn from that first job experience in Big Timber? What was a big takeaway?
Well, customer service is key. And also they gave us, so while we did the hotel, they would put us in to do work the restaurant at night occasionally just to get that experience as well. And you learned about customer service. You learned about typically when you're interacting with the clients, they want to have a good experience, and you're there representing the hotel. And if they ask for something or they need something, you figure out how to make it happen. I mean, you're there to serve.
Yeah. Those first work experiences are pretty critical for everybody. And
They are, and it was, I will tell you, my uncle he's a great guy, but he worked hard in business, and I would say my parents and my whole family have really instilled that strong work ethic that I continue to have today, and it drives the who I am and why I work so hard, and I think that's important because that work ethic is really reflects the values that you carry.
Yeah. Well, you had a lot of your education here in Spokane. What drew you to the Middlebury in California? Why pick that?
Well, in order to tell you that, I need to tell you what happened in between undergrad and grad. So I'm a little bit of an overachiever. And so when I was at Whitworth, I did 152 credit hours in 4 years, no summer school. You graduate with 128. I mean, I overloaded. I actually had 3 majors when I graduated. And I was involved in student government. I was involved in pretty much every activity. So by the time I hit the end of my senior year, I never wanted to see another accounting book in my life. I was so tired of studying, and I wanted something completely different. And so a girlfriend of mine that we'd known each other since junior high, she was walking across campus our senior year, and she said, I know what we're doing when we graduate. I said, great, come by my office this afternoon. So she came by my office, and we literally planned our trip. And so when we graduated, in May, we bought one-way plane tickets to Mexico, and then we headed south, and we backpacked our way all the way through Central America, down to Panama for 6 months. And we literally had $2,000 in hand and a backpack on my back, and I was gone for 3 years. And I traveled, and then eventually after the 6 months of traveling, I went back to Honduras, where my twin sister was doing the Peace Corps, and I worked for World Vision and did small business development in Honduras for World Vision for 2.5 years. And it was just such a great experience to, learn a different culture. I didn't speak Spanish when I started that trip. I had taken my required Spanish classes in high school and college, but
it's not the same thing.
It's not the same thing. When you get down there and you have to learn how to speak it, and it's thrown right in. So learn how to speak Spanish, and I loved the experience. But you can only defer your student loans for 36 months. It's my advice to every parent and every student is defer those student loans and see the world. Because what other time in your life do you not have the responsibilities of mortgages and kids and all the other things that come with life? And so it was such a great opportunity to challenge myself and to step outside my comfort zone and learn a different culture and language. And yes, I absolutely loved it. But as I said, you only can defer your student loans for 36 months. And so I either had to go back to the States and get a real job, because I think I made $150 a month in Honduras, or I had to go back to school. So I decided to go back to school and get my MBA, and I had a full ride scholarship offer at the Middlebury Institute of International Studies, so that made that decision easy.
Well, yes, it would.
So actually, and
nice
I studied.
To have that offer.
I had to have my MBA, but it was with an international focus. For those who are familiar with the university, they offer many of their classes in a foreign language. They have a very strong foreign language class aspect to their university. So that's what drew me there.
Well, that gave you a pretty varied background to answer the question. Why did you decide to step out as a candidate, and answer the question, why vote for Shelley O'Quinn for Spokane County Commissioner?
So I never thought that I would ever run for public office. I was actually exposed to it after graduating from Miss. I actually moved to Florida and worked as a missions director for a very large Methodist church. And that was the first time that I ever became involved in anything political, because there was they were trying. I ran the homeless mission and outreach program, and there was this incident where they were trying to move some of the homeless out of a certain area, and I went and spoke at City Council, and spoke up about how we needed to find a better solution than just trying to get rid of everyone. And that was my very first time speaking for the City Council, and at that time they said, you need to run for City Council. I was an absolute no. I ended up moving back to Spokane, and when I was working at Greater Spokane Incorporated, doing workforce development and public policy, I also had that was part of my job. The other part of my job was running the George Nethercutt Foundation, which was a civic education and leadership program for college students. So here I am working with George Nethercutt, and I'm telling college students that you need to be civically engaged in your communities, and you need to You need to get involved and run for office. And then on the other hand, I'm working with our local manufacturers. This is 2008 and 2009, right when the economy tanked. And I really felt like Olympia was helping them shut their doors. So never having been involved in party politics ever, never having been involved in ever thinking I was really going to want to run for public office, I decided to throw my name in the hat, and I ran for state rep in 2010. I lost in the primary, but I called that 10 months of professional development and character building. And it was, it was a great experience to learn about the process, to learn about the issues, and really to learn about the system. And then 2012, when Mark Richard decided that he didn't want to run, I really loved my job at GSI. It was an opportunity that came up unexpectedly, and I thought, I love serving my community. I would love to take it to the next level and serve my community at the county. I threw my name in the hat, and here I am. It's really hard to believe that's been 3.5 years, almost 4 years since 4 years since I ran. So.
Okay, so you are asking for your contract to be renewed?
I am. Yep.
And what would you cite for your last minute of closing here? What would you cite as your kind of your proudest accomplishment of your service to date?
So we, when I came into county government, I really wanted to change how we do things. And that answer is more than a minute long, but I just want to say we've just changed. We have fabulous, fabulous employees at Spokane County. But when we all have limited revenues. And so we have to look at how we do things differently. And just in changing how we do things over the last 3.5 years, we save between $1 and $1.4 million a year. Just in changing how we do things. It's been a big lean management process improvement initiative that I launched the day I was elected. And it's been extremely successful. We're taking on to the next step. And we've improved our customer service in the process. It's just been such a phenomenal experience and outcome. And I hope to carry that forward along with many of the other initiatives I've been working on.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you making time to stop in and talk with us today, Shelley. And
thank you very much. It's
Godspeed on your journey.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
Meet the Candidate is produced in Spokane, Washington by SpokaneTalksOnline.com, which is solely responsible for its content. The Meet the Candidate series is sponsored as a community service by the Ponderosa Republican Women's Club, the Law Office of D.C. Cronin, and We Believe, We Vote. All Meet the Candidate conversations are posted on our YouTube channel, posted as a podcast on our website, and will be featured in our 24/7 live stream. Find us at SpokaneTalksOnline.com.